Welcome everyone. In this lecture of particle physics, we will learn about charge conjugate and time reversal conservation. In the previous lecture, we have already discussed about parity conservation and helicity. In this lecture, we will learn about the remaining two approximate conservation laws, charge conjugate and time reversal. First, let's talk about charge conjugation. Between two positive charges, F electrostatic force is applied. And if you replace both charges with negative charges, then the same electrostatic force will apply between them. Whether the two charges are positive or negative, the same force will apply between them. This is to say that electromagnetic force cannot differentiate between these two. This is called charge conjugation symmetry or charge conjugate conservation. According to this, in the nuclear reaction, even if the particle is replaced with the antiparticle, that reaction will be equally probable. The charge conjugation is also called C parity. Due to the charge conservation, the particle converts into its antiparticle and vice versa, like electron in positron and positron in electron. Let us understand this with an example. The decay of pion plus is in muon minus and antineutrino. By charge conjugation, even if all the particles are replaced by their antiparticle, the reaction will be equally probable. Operating a charge conjugation operator on a particle, the particle converts into its antiparticle. But once more charge conjugation operator is operated, means if charge conjugation operator is operated twice, then particle will return its original state. That means the eigenvalue of C square will be 1. Therefore, the eigenvalue of charge conjugation operator will be plus minus 1. As we know from quantum physics, the numerical value corresponding to an eigenvector is called eigenvalue. Only when the operator is operated on a state, the same state is found in multiple with a constant. If the charge conjugate operator operates on a particle and particle does not change, this will be called the eigenstate of the charge conjugate operator. But this can only happen with those particles which are their own antiparticles, like neutral pion. Neutral pion is its own antiparticle, and if charge conjugation is applied to the pion, then it will be converted to itself. Such particles are called self-conjugate particles. Photon, rho meson, W boson, phi, psi, Y meson, neutral pion and eta all are self-conjugate particles. If the charge conjugation is applied to the electron, then the electron will convert into positron. In this case, the eigenstate of electron is changing. Similarly, sigma 0 is also not a self-conjugate particle because it is not its own antiparticle. Rather, its antiparticle is represented by placing a bar over it. This is the reason that these particles are not an eigenvector of the charge conjugation. The C parity of a self-conjugate particle is given by minus 1 to the power L plus S, where L is the orbital quantum number and S is the spin quantum number, such as neutral pion. Spin of pion is 0, and if there is no information about angular momentum, it can consider 0. Means the C parity of neutral pion is plus 1. Similarly, the photon has spin 1. Considering 0 orbital angular momentum, then the C parity of the photon will be minus 1. If the reaction has 2 photons, then their C parity will be plus 1, and if n photons are there, then the C parity will be minus 1 to the power n. Similarly, rho meson is a vector meson of spin 1, so its C parity will be minus 1. In general, the C parity of all self-conjugate vector mesons is odd, and the C parity of scalar meson is even. Applying the charge conjugation operator, not only the charge of the particle but also the spin of all intrinsic additive quantum numbers such as lepton number, baryon number, strangeness and hypercharge will change. But the sign of spin and momentum does not change. C parity follows multiplicative rule. If C parity is conserved in an interaction, then the commutation of C parity with Hamiltonian will be equal to 0. According to C parity conservation, C parity must be conserved in any nuclear reaction, but C parity only remains conserved in strong and electromagnetic interactions. This violates in weak interaction. Pions decay is taking place in two photons. Since the spin of a pion is 0, its C parity will be plus 1. While spin of photon is 1, so its C parity will be minus 1. Therefore, the total C parity of two photons will be plus 1. That means the C parity is conserved in this reaction. But if the decay of pion is in 3 photons instead of 2 photons, then C parity is not conserved. Hence, the decay of pion always happens in 2 photons instead of 3 photons. The decay of a rho meson is in 2 neutral pions. Since the spin of rho meson is 1, then its C parity will be minus 1, while the spin of pion is 0, means its C parity will be even. The C parity is not conserved in this reaction. The decay of W particle in neutral pion and photon. W meson and photon are vector boson particles of spin 1, so their C parity will be minus 1, while pion is a scalar boson of spin 0, so their parity will be plus 1. That means C parity is not conserved in this decay reaction. In this way, C parity can be defined only for photon and neutral meson particles, because these particles are the eigenstate of charge conjugate operators. But what about the other charged particles? If a system is of particle and antiparticle of spin half fermions, then their C parity is given by minus 1 to the power L plus S, where capital L is their relative orbital angular momentum and capital S is the total spin of entire system. For example, if an electron and a positron are participating in a reaction, C parity of this total system will be minus 1 to the power L plus S. Here capital L is the relative orbital angular momentum of electron and positron. If in this question no information is about the orbital momentum, then L can be considered 0. S is the total spin of electron and positron. Since both are fermions, they will be aligned either parallel or anti-parallel. So their total spin will be 0 or 1. Since both are fermions, the most probable is that they will align anti-parallel so that the wave function remain antisymmetric. As we said earlier, C parity is remain invariant in strong and electromagnetic interactions. But strong force is charge independent. Then how can C parity be defined for charged particles, while these particles are not the eigenstate of charge conjugation? In such a situation, a new parity was defined, which is called G parity. The G parity of a particle is given by this relation, where C is the C parity of the particle and I2 is the second component of the isospin of that particle. The physical meaning of the exponential term is to rotate the third component of isospin by 180 degree with respect to the I2 axis, like pion plus. Pion plus has third component of isospin plus 1. If G parity operates on pion plus, then due to exponential term, I3 of pion plus will rotate from 180 degree to minus 1. Now if C parity operates, then pion plus will convert to pion minus. G parity is defined for meson particles. The multiplet groups of all meson particles that contain a neutral particle, the G parity is given by this simplified form, where C is the C parity of the neutral member of the multiplet and I is the isospin. Talking about the G parity of the pion, in the triplet group of pion, C parity of the neutral pion is plus 1 and the isospin of pion is 1. That means the G parity of the pion is minus 1. Talking about the G parity of other self-conjugate mesons, the rho meson has C parity minus 1 and isospin plus 1. Means the G parity of rho meson will be plus 1. Similarly, the C parity of eta meson is plus 1 and isospin 0. Means its G parity will be plus 1. G parity remains conserved in strong interactions. The decay of row meson in positive and negative pion. The G parity of row meson is +1 and the G parity of both pions is -1. That means in this reaction the G parity is remained conserved. Decay of Phi in 3 pion. Phi has a G parity of -1 while all 3 pions have a G parity of -1. Means G parity is remained conserved in this decay reaction. Proceeding further in this lecture, my suggestion is that if you have not watched our previous lecture on parity, then check it out first, so that this lecture will be easy to understand. In the previous lecture, we have learned about p parity conservation. Parity remains conserved in strong and electromagnetic interactions but not in weak interaction. Similarly, C parity also remains conserved in strong and electromagnetic interactions but not in weak interaction. So will the combination of C and P parity will remain conserved in all the 3 fundamental interactions? This is called CP conservation. In parity conservation, we knew that neutrino violates parity conservation. So will neutrino follow CP conservation? Let's consider a neutrino. As we have already learned in helicity that till now all neutrinos are of left-handed helicity. That means the spin of these neutrino is opposite to the direction of their momentum. If we apply parity to this neutrino, then the momentum will reverse but not the spin, because spin is remain invariant under parity transformation. That means parity operation will convert left-handed neutrino into right-handed neutrino. This is why neutrino violates parity conservation, because right-handed neutrino does not exist in nature. Now, if C parity is applied instead of parity, then neutrino will convert into its antiparticle antineutrino. But doing so will not affect helicity, because in charge conjugation, spin and momentum are invariant quantities. That means C parity transformation converts a left-handed neutrino into a left-handed antineutrino, and no such antineutrino exists in nature. All the antineutrino found in nature are of right-handed helicity. Therefore, neutrino violates charge conjugation. But if both C and P parity applied simultaneously on neutrino, then we get antineutrino of right-handed helicity. This exists in nature. That means neutrino violates C and P parity individually but follows CP conservation. This means CP conservation should be a universal conservation rule, but it's not like that. CP conservation is also remain conserved only in strong and electromagnetic interactions, while CP may be or may not be remain conserved in weak interactions. The decay of neutral cation in pions is an example of CP violation. CP violation can be explained by the property of mixing, which is a quantum mechanical process in which the particle converts in its antiparticle. Here we will not discuss this process. In such a situation, a new conservation law was required which combined with C and P parity to form a universal conservation law. This is called time reversal conservation. As parity transformation flips the sign of coordinate axis, similarly time reversal flips the time axis or change the direction of flow of time. Talking about a physical quantity, the displacement is time independent, so the change of time axis does not affect it. Means they are T parity invariant, but velocity is time dependent. Talking about subatomic particles or nuclear reactions, as we said earlier, time reversal means the inversion of direction of flow of time. That means reaction proceed in backward direction. If the lambda particle decays in proton and pion, and if this process gets reversed, then from the interaction of proton and pion, lambda particle must be produced. But the problem is that this is difficult to test. Where all particles are eigenstate of parity, only a few particles are eigenstate of C parity, but none of the particle is the eigenstate of time reversal. Scientists has speculation that time reversal is also not an universal conservation law. It remains conserved only in strong interaction. But if time reversal combined with C and P parity, then it becomes a universal conservation law, which is called CPT conservation, which remain conserved in all interactions. The behavior under parity, charge conjugate, and time reversal transformation of different physical quantities like displacement, momentum, velocity, electric or magnetic field, Maxwell equation is beyond particle physics. So we will discuss it separately in a series of our special lecture. Now it's time for short notes. Due to charge conjugation, particle converts in their antiparticle and vice versa. The eigenvalue of the C parity is plus minus 1. Neutral boson particles are the eigenstate of C parity. These are called self-conjugate particles. The C parity of self-conjugate particle is given by minus 1 to the power L plus S. Spin and momentum remain invariant in C parity transformation. Also, C parity follows multiplicative rule. C parity remain conserved only in strong and electromagnetic interactions. The C parity of particle and antiparticle of spin half fermion is given by minus 1 to the power L plus S. For meson particles, another parity is defined which is called G parity, which is given by C e to the power iota pi I2. But if we talk about the meson multiplet particles, then their G parity is given by C minus 1 to the power I. G parity remain conserved in strong interaction. CP conservation remain conserved in strong and electromagnetic interactions, but in weak interaction it may or may not be conserved. T parity inverts the direction of flow of time. It remains conserved only in strong interactions, while CPT remains conserved in all fundamental interactions. Here are some nuclear reactions for your practice. If you wish, you can download detailed PDF notes of this lecture. To download notes, either you can get membership for our Patreon page or direct via link given in the description below.